Have you ever felt a phantom vibration? That ghostly buzz in your pocket? A message from no one? A call that never came? Or perhaps you found yourself reaching for your phone, only to realize it was already in your hand. You pick it up to check the time, and 45 minutes later, you look up, dazed, with no memory of what you just saw. This isn't a lapse in self-control. It's not a personal failing. It's a symptom. It's the ghost in the machine. What if I told you that this small glowing rectangle is not a neutral tool? That it has been meticulously engineered by some of the brightest minds of our generation to wage a silent, invisible war for your most finite and precious resource, your attention. The question is not if you are addicted. The real question is, how deep does the design of that addiction truly go? To understand the invisible chains that bind you to your screen, we must first travel back in time, not to Silicon Valley, but to a Harvard laboratory in the mid-20th century. Here, a behavioral psychologist named B.F. Skinner conducted a series of now infamous experiments. He placed hungry rats and pigeons inside a box, equipped with a lever. When the animal pressed the lever, it would sometimes receive a food pellet. Skinner discovered something revolutionary. If the pellet was dispensed every single time the lever was pressed, the animal would only press it when it was hungry. But if the reward was unpredictable, if the lever sometimes delivered food, but on a random, erratic schedule, the animal's behavior transformed. It became obsessive. It would press the lever compulsively, endlessly, caught in a frantic loop of hope and anticipation. Skinner had discovered the single most powerful principle of behavioral conditioning: variable rewards. This very same principle is the engine humming silently inside your phone. Think of the pull to refresh gesture on your email or social media feed. You pull down, and what will you get? A crucial work email? A like from a friend? A mind-numbing meme? Or nothing at all? Each pull of that lever is a spin of the slot machine. The infinite scroll on platforms like TikTok and Instagram is not a feature for your convenience. It is the digital perfection of Skinner's box. There is always the promise of another, more interesting video, another, more beautiful photo, just a flick of the thumb away. This system doesn't give you what you want. It keeps you perpetually wanting. It isn't designed for satisfaction. It's designed for seeking, and that seeking is a state from which it is very, very difficult to escape. Your brain, hardwired over millennia for survival, cannot resist the allure of the unpredictable reward. But the mechanism is far more sophisticated than just a simple psychological trick. To truly grasp its power, we must look at the precise neurochemical cocktail your device is concocting inside your mind. The primary chemical most people associate with this process is dopamine, but there's a profound misunderstanding of what dopamine actually does. It is not the pleasure chemical, it is the motivation chemical. It's the neurotransmitter of anticipation, of seeking, of desire. It's released not when you get the reward, but in the moments leading up to it. It's the thrill of the hunt. Every ping, every buzz, every red notification badge is a tiny, calibrated surge of dopamine, promising a potential reward and compelling you to act, to check, to seek. It's a system that keeps you in a constant state of low-grade, agitated anticipation. This process, however, is not a solo act. When you receive a positive social signal like a share, a supportive comment, your brain releases another powerful chemical, oxytocin. This is often called the bonding hormone, or cuddle chemical. It's the same chemical that floods a mother's brain after childbirth, cementing the bond with her infant. It's fundamental to our sense of trust, empathy, and social belonging. Our smartphones have effectively hijacked this ancient, pro-social evolutionary circuit. They provide us with intermittent, unpredictable hits of social validation, making us feel, however fleetingly, that we are safe, valued, and part of the tribe. The device has become a surrogate for genuine human connection. Simultaneously, another, darker chemical force is at play: cortisol. This is your body's primary stress hormone. The fear of being out of the loop, the anxiety of missing a critical message, a social trend, or an important event, what we now call FOMO, or the fear of missing out, triggers a steady release of cortisol. The only way to temporarily alleviate this stress is to pick up the phone and check. This creates a deeply insidious cycle of anxiety and relief. You feel stressed for not being connected, so you connect. The connection itself provides a brief respite, reinforcing the behavior, but the underlying system ensures the anxiety will soon return, demanding you check again. It's a feedback loop of manufactured stress, where the only cure is the poison itself. The psychological and neurochemical hooks are undeniably powerful, but they are deployed through an equally potent medium: the architecture of the applications themselves. This isn't accidental. It's a field of study known as persuasive technology, and its cradle is, perhaps unsurprisingly, another university lab, the Stanford Persuasive Technology Lab. Founded by Dr. B.J. Fogg, An astonishing number of Silicon Valley's most influential figures passed through Fogg's tutelage, learning the core principles of how to engineer human behavior. Fogg's model is elegantly simple. For a behavior to occur, three things must converge at the same moment: motivation, ability, and a prompt. In his formula, BMAP. Your phone is the ultimate master of this equation. First, it amplifies motivation. Apps prey on our deepest human needs: the need for social approval, the fear of ostracism, the desire for entertainment and distraction. They create artificial motivations like Snapchat's streaks, which show the number of consecutive days you've communicated with someone. The desire not to break the chain becomes a powerful motivator, leveraging a psychological bias known as loss aversion, or tendency to feel the pain of a loss twice as powerfully as the pleasure of a gain. Second, it maximizes ability. Great app design is about making actions as frictionless as possible. The swipe to unlock, the single tap to open, the infinite scroll. Every interaction is streamlined to require the absolute minimum of physical or cognitive effort. The easier an action is to perform, the more likely you are to do it, even without strong motivation. The path of least resistance has been paved directly to the screen. And finally, there is the prompt. The endless, unrelenting stream of notifications, banners, badges, buzzes, and pings. These are not gentle reminders. They are meticulously crafted triggers, or what Fogg calls hot triggers, designed to prompt you into action when your motivation and ability are high. The color red, used for most notification bubbles, is no accident. It's a color that our evolutionary past has taught us to associate with urgency, danger, and importance. Your brain cannot help but register it as a call to action that must be answered immediately. You are not simply using the app. The app is using a well-researched playbook to use you. Now, consider your own behavior. Have you ever fallen into a scroll zone on a social media feed? A state where you are not actively looking for anything, not truly absorbing information, but simply engaging in the rhythmic, repetitive motion of swiping, caught in a state of suspended animation. The goal of the algorithm is identical to the goal of the slot machine: to maximize time on device, to keep you in the zone. The autoplay feature on YouTube, the seamless transition from one TikTok video to the next, these are not features for your convenience. They are designs for inducing and maintaining the machine zone. You are not the customer in this equation. The customer is the advertiser who pays for access to your captivated attention. You are the resource being mined. So here you are, holding a device that deploys the compulsive power of a Skinner box, the neurochemical precision of a pharmacist, the behavioral architecture of a persuasion expert, and the hypnotic allure of a slot machine. Your addiction is not a character flaw. It is the predictable, desired outcome of a multi-trillion-dollar system. It's the result of a battle for your attention that you were never told you were fighting. The goal, then, is not to demonize the technology or to retreat from the modern world. The goal is to move from unconscious compulsion to conscious, intentional use. It begins with a simple act: reclaiming your sovereignty. Understand that your attention is your most valuable asset, and you are being systematically robbed of it. The first step is not to throw your phone away, but to reconfigure the battlefield. Turn off all notifications except for those from actual human beings. The algorithm can wait. Reclaim your environment by creating phone-free zones or times in your day. Let boredom return. It is the crucible of creativity. Awareness is the beginning of control. You can't win a war you don't know you're in. But now, you do. Thank you for watching. If this journey of discovery has opened your eyes, subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden forces that shape our world.